Hey, what's up guys? Rideshare Guy here, and today I've got a video for you on Doordash. And the question I'm going to be asking is, should I sign up for Doordash? So this video is going to be a little bit more interactive, just in the sense that I'm going to be asking for your advice. So I'd love for you guys to leave a comment in the comment section or show notes below, and definitely let me know what your experience, whether you've signed up or not, what you've heard, and if you guys have gone out and done it, definitely let me know about your experience, because as you guys know, I like to try things from experience. So if I'm going to go out and write about Uber and Lyft, obviously I'm going to go out and drive. If I'm going to write about Postmates, I want to go out and drive. And I guess in my mind, obviously I've already covered Postmates. I did 4 or 5 pretty big, in-depth, 2,000-3,000 word articles over on the site. I've done a couple of YouTube videos about Postmates, and honestly, I wasn't super impressed with the earning potential on Postmates. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that don't want to do Uber and Lyft. Maybe they don't have a car that qualifies. Maybe they're not old enough. Maybe they don't want to deal with drunk people or whatever, or people in general, whatever. There's definitely a lot of reasons why people don't want to do Uber and Lyft and would either prefer food or just like the hours or whatever it is. And that's kind of what I've come to realize. So at the same time, I'm looking at all the delivery services and saying, hey, where are the opportunities where I can basically use these in concert with Uber and Lyft? Or for people who don't want to do Uber and Lyft, what are the best options out there? And there's obviously Postmates, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about Postmates, but I'd say right behind Postmates is actually a service called Doordash. Now, Doordash is very similar to Postmates in that they basically allow for customers to go onto an app and order basically anything from any fast casual to even nicer restaurants in the area. Now, Postmates, you can technically order anything, whether it's beer, you could order an iPad from the Apple Store. 95% of the orders are food, takeout, fast casual restaurants on Postmates. And Doordash, the only difference is that the only options I see on Doordash, at least, are only food, right? And they tend to have I don't know, in my experience, they've had a little bit more less selection of restaurants out there. So for example, there might be a restaurant that I see on Postmates, but I don't always see it on Doordash. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I know that a lot of customers are probably out there going back and forth between Doordash and Postmates, similar to how they do with Uber and Lyft. But in this video, I want to talk a little bit about Doordash and just my experience with them. And just to let you guys know that I'm thinking about trying them out, and I'd like to hear your feedback, because in my mind, it really, right now, we're at Uber, Lyft, Postmates, and Doordash, right? Those are kind of the best opportunities with the highest number of drivers working. Now, obviously, there are a lot of services out there, but at the same time, not a lot of them have reached critical mass yet. And what I mean by critical mass is that they may only be available in 1 or 2 cities. They may not be available to everyone across the US. And I generally like to talk about companies once they get to that saturation point where maybe not everyone in the whole country can work for them, but maybe the top 5 or top 10, top 8, top 10 cities, LA, Washington, DC, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, where when the companies start reaching that level, that's when I think it starts to make sense to kind of cover them. And I think obviously Lyft, Uber, Sidecar, Postmates are all at that level, and I've covered them to that extent. And in my mind, Doordash is kind of right there below Postmates, and so that's kind of why I'm looking into covering them. Now, I know there's some companies like Washio and Instacart that drivers have told me really good things about, but at the same time, they seem still like kind of small players to me. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on them for the future, but don't think I'm quite going to go into covering them. I think for now, probably the next company I'm going to look at is Doordash. So I definitely am looking to hear feedback from you guys. First, how they compare to Postmates, how they compare to Uber and Lyft, what your experience has been like, what city you're in. And I've been trying a lot of these services out as a passenger. I've done a couple other videos on Postmates and Doordash, what it's like from the customer perspective, and I've done a ton of articles on Postmates, and now I'm kind of moving on to Doordash. So basically, you guys know that I'm gonna, figure all this stuff out, and my hope is that eventually there's going to be some ways where I can combine it with Uber and Lyft, or maybe even some of these delivery services might be self-sustaining, where drivers can go out and make just as much as Uber and Lyft, but only doing deliveries. So, because I know it would be nice if Uber wasn't the only option. I think with these delivery services, there's enough demand out there that it could potentially be maybe not necessarily a competitor to Uber, but it could provide another viable option to Uber. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And I know this video, I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit more interactive. So definitely feel free to leave a comment below, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. All right, take care.